what's he say? The courthouse clock shows 6 o'clock. So Roger, if you'll take the roll.
Andy Allen.
Here.
Larry Chesney. Here. Bruce Stamrow.
Here.
Stan Hedrick. And Rob Walker's absent.
All right, if we'll approve last month's meeting.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
All approved?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. This week it looks like, or this month it looks like we have one special exception: the request for a cellular tower to be located on 3270, Blair Road, off of Alcoa Trail.
That's true. The property is identified on parcel 27, tax map 27, parcel 3901, and is zoned suburbanizing. The applicant is Verizon Wireless, and they have submitted the complete application along with the site plan. The proposed tower is 70 feet, a 70-foot monopole with 10 feet lightning rod attached to the top. Site plan does show that there is room for 4 antennas on the tower. The site plan also shows that all setback and separation requirements will be met. The closest property line is just over 248 feet from the tower's base. And then I included the email that had Larry Perry's complete review of the request.
Is there anyone here speaking in favor of the cellular tower? Go ahead.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Chris Kinchin with Falk & Foster, and I am an agent for Verizon Wireless, which is located at 575 Hickory Hills Boulevard in White Creek, Tennessee. We have submitted a special exception application request for a tower to be located on Mr. and Mrs. Blair's property at 3270 Blair Road. The proposed tower height is a 70-foot monopole with 10-foot lightning rod with related shelters in a fenced compound. The tower is designed to link with Verizon's McGee, Rockford, and Hightower sites. Verizon is requiring a height of 70 foot on this tower to meet the coverage needs along Alcoa Trail, Alcoa Highway 129, and East Hunt Road. This is a capacity offload site, which allows for better cell coverage in that area. The tower is designed to accommodate 4 wireless carriers and does meet all the standards of the Blount County Wireless Telecommunication Tower and Antenna Ordinance, thereby providing co-location opportunities for service providers in the county. Verizon must meet local zoning conditions, federal and state regulations, along with preemptive authority and requirements of the Telecommunication Act of 1996. An 8-foot high chain link fence equipped with an anti-climbing device will be installed surrounding our 70 by 70 foot compound in accordance with the Blount County zoning ordinance. In conclusion, Verizon Wireless is proposing this tower in order to meet the coverage needs along Alcoa Trail, Alcoa Highway 129, East Hunt Road corridor. We respectfully request approval of this site. This tower, in conjunction with McGee, Rockford, and Hightower sites, will provide the necessary coverage for Verizon's network. I'll reserve the remainder of my time to answer any questions you may have. Mr. Blair and his daughter are here, as well as Mary Pat Tyndall, who is the site for the agent, are here to answer any questions as well. Questions?
Yeah, ask her any questions you'd have.
Who maintains Blair Road?
Who maintains Blair Road? Mr. Blair.
So it is not a county road.
It's a county road halfway up, and then from halfway on, it's a private drive.
Okay, as you look at drawing Z1, at the bottom of the drawing, you show 3 existing barns. Is it the first one a house?
Beg your pardon, sir?
Look at drawing Z1.
Okay.
At the bottom, going up from the bottom on Blair Road, at the bottom of the Blair Road that's shown on this drawing, you show 3 existing barns. Isn't that first one a house?
Yes, sir.
It is. Make sure you...
There is the Newsom family, aren't they, on that lot?
this down Alcoa Trail?
It's on,
No, that's Tool Shed there.
it's further on down, it's right on, where Blair Road comes into
Oh.
Alcoa
Okay,
Trail.
that's either Jeremy or the Newsom.
That's the Newsoms.
Okay.
I believe it's the Newsom family at that big parcel right where Blair Road cuts off of, Alcoa Trail.
Okay, but on that drawing, that's a house, not a barn. That's a question.
On the left-hand side,
Yes.
it's a barn.
All three are barns?
Are all three barns, Mr. Blair?
No, that's my daughter's house there.
At the
First one is
first
her
road
house.
before you, when you turn on Blair Road, the first one on the corner is a house.
I'm talking about the drawing. Look at the drawing.
Right there. Whose house is that?
Let's see,
I know the big
this is my house.
rectangular one is a barn.
Right, right.
Then that would be, if you're on Blair Road, then that would be my house.
That's her house.
Okay,
First one,
all right.
first block. and
Now
then
that, now we know that first one is a house, not a barn.
Yes, sir.
Now tell me where Blair Road ends and where the driveway begins, based on this drawing.
Where Blair Road ends.
Blair Road ends at the top of the hill at his house, because it doesn't go all the way
But
through.
what part does the county maintain? At what point?
Right at my house.
At her house?
So where her house is and the two barns, that's where the county road stops.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is Bill Dunlap a part of maintaining that part of the road?
If it's a county road, I guess it would, yeah.
Does he know that this is going on? And my question, where I'm going to, is if we're not careful, we're going to have the same issue we had in Townsend. Because the road is really not in very good shape. Some places you can't pass another car. And now we're going to get into the people that live on the road are going to say the cell phone tower damaged the road and I want the county to repair it.
Sir?
I think the only people that live on the road is the family.
Yes.
Well, there's several houses that enter that road.
But there are none that actually face onto Blair Road except for the Blair family.
Okay,
And
My
the road
house is his
itself is
house.
on their property.
We're the only ones that would be accessing that road up to that point, because the other house is off of Alcoa Trail, and my grandfather's house is the first house past the first barn on the right. He doesn't go all the way up, so he has his driveway that comes back down, and it's actually passable there.
so everybody that accesses their house off of Blair Road is a part of the Blair family.
Yes, sir.
That's correct.
That's the reason why it's called Blair Road.
But, well, I'm just saying, guys, if we're not careful, somebody's gonna sell a house, and then we're gonna have an issue with wanting to have the county come in and repair the road. So,
Sir, I own, the houses on the road. I own from Alcoa Trail all the way up to my house.
okay,
With the first house was my aunt and uncle's, and I bought it from them, and my son lives in it. And her house was my grandmother's house, and I remodeled it, and she lives in it. And
That's
then
the one on the
my
left.
house is all the way up.
and you're in the house up top of the hill on the
Yeah.
right.
Yes, so he's the only one that could actually sell a house, because he's the one that owns all the houses.
And I'm not gonna sell that. No.
No.
We've got a farm out there, and we run tractors up and down, and that's about it, plus us living there.
But Larry, he doesn't go all the way up, he accesses, but where I said it's passable. Okay. If there was gonna be a problem, I think he would have come here tonight, but he said there wasn't gonna be, so. I'm just stating my fact. I know, but you don't access that road there, you have Breedlove Lane, that's your road. Okay.
All right, is there any other questions from the board, for the people that are for the,
I'm
Exception.
just sharing a concern about what we went into in Townsend, that we have the potential to have the same thing again if that is a county road, and they're gonna use that to build a tower and tear it up, and then somebody's gonna come to Dunlap and say, oh, by the way, I need for you to fix the road. That's my concern.
I understand.
The one you're speaking of was actually a private road.
This is a private road.
Mr.
Well, I
Mr.
know,
Lael,
but
is that how you pronounce your name?
Chesney.
Well, that's not on there.
No,
Okay.
don't, these are incorrect.
Oh, okay, you had Mr. Lael. If like to be Mr. Lael. Jesse,
I'm Larry.
Yes.
I'm Larry.
at least you answered. I did the site act work for this, and I have been instructed that if it would make the commission feel more comfortable with the structure of the road, that we could add an amendment to the lease stating that if there was any damage done to the road because of Verizon Wireless construction of the tower site, that we would repair it.
With all due respect, that's exactly what happened in Townsend. And then we got into a disagreement between the cell tower and the community about who damaged the road. And you can't prove whether the truck that went to his house or the truck that went to the cell phone tower, who damaged the road.
But Mr. Blair owns the road, and he'll know, because there's no other person or things coming up to behind his house except the tower.
Okay.
So we'd be glad to do that if that would ease y'all in any way. And Mr. Blair has no problem with it.
No.
Is that all the questions for the people that are for the tower? If so, thank you all. You might be seated. And then, is there anybody against the tower? If you approach the podium there and state your concerns, please. Please state your name and address first, please.
My name is Larry Breedlove, 3266 Breedlove Lane. He's my neighbor, and I personally don't want the tower because I'll be looking out my back door and seeing it. And I've been doing some research. There's a lot of radiation problems comes off these, could cause cancer. And I have had several surgeries, and I want to live peaceful the rest of my life without worrying about being eaten up with cancer because of the tower.
Our basic concerns are we just don't feel like it's a good neighbor policy. And the reason I'm saying that is if you do a little bit of research, which I'm sure all of you all have done, within a 4-mile radius of our property, which is to the southwest of the proposed cell phone tower, there are already 51 towers in place, 3 new tower applications as of yesterday, and 182 antennas. That's a lot of coverage for a small area. And I understand what the cell phone tower representatives are saying about coverage for Alcoa Trail and East Hunt Road and Alcoa Highway, but you know, the airport is over there. If you pull up the maps, the airport has a cajillion towers and antennas and things like that. I really think no more developed than that end of the county is. We're more than adequately covered, and I just don't see the need. And yet another tower. Yes, I understand that the radio frequencies are very low, admit it, but like Larry said, he's had 2 brain surgeries. You know, he's 60 years old. I need him to be around for a little bit longer. We have grandchildren. Our property has been in his family for a very long time, right at 100 years. And at one time or another, and we have graves on our property. We're very vested in our property. And I don't know if the cell phone folk are aware of this, but just since we've lived out there since 1980, we have a lot of elements or something in the soil. We have lost 6 hot water heater elements just in our homes, 3 in the farm garage, 6 to 8 phone systems, and these are all from lightning strikes. 2 well pumps, a welder in our garage, an air compressor in our garage, a clothes washer, a chest freezer, and power to our chicken coop. And I realize that we're talking about a really long period of time, but I just don't know if that's something that I heard them say about lightning things, but I just don't need more lightning in that area of the county. We're concerned, like I said, about our children and our grandchildren. Our son hopes to build over there. We already have 2 grandchildren that come and visit quite frequently. We have the Clayton Bradley School in our front door over there next to the Clayton property. We're we're still in the dark ages. We have a TV antenna. We don't do digital and all that kind of stuff. So I have some reservations with our TV reception. Our son has Verizon. He has perfect coverage. I just don't see the need. You know, sometimes more is not the answer. And we would just respectfully, you know, request that this not, or if it has to be in our area, let him put it on the other side of his property that is next to Clayton's corporate headquarters, to where we don't have to look at it and we don't have to view it. Thank you for your time.
You can see the tower easy from your place?
I assume where it's going to be, yes, out our back door.
And the road that they're talking about, that's their driveway, backs right up to our property, and we have a big pond there. So I echo his concerns about road issues and things.
Okay.
Thank you. Did the board have any more questions for these fellows?
No, I got a question for Verizon.
Okay, thank you, guys.
I'd like to address some of the
Can I
issues that they brought up.
Can I ask you one question
Yes,
first?
sir.
Do you have a coverage chart showing the need for a tower in that area showing?
That is one thing I was going to explain to you. This is what's known as a capacity site, not a coverage site. So there's no way to show capacity. The need for a tower where it is going to be located is because the towers that are currently surrounding this are full. They can't accommodate any more data, no telephone calls, and no internet. And it's not because Verizon wants it that way, it's because it's market driven. So there is a need to put a tower in this area in order to offload a lot of that information, data, and telephone calls from the existing towers. The issue about moving the tower to the other part of the property, the elevation is not conducive to the tower, and in order to get the elevation we need, we'd have to build a taller tower, which means that we could not meet the setbacks. It has not ever been proven medically that any of these waves or radio signals affect the brain in any way. Good neighbor policy, I think that we strive to be good neighbors. I look for sites where I think they are not visible. It is not lighted, it's not required to be lighted. The tower itself is only 70 feet tall, so it's just hardly even above the trees. It is in a wooded area, you can't even see the base of the tower. So I think that the idea that it is visible from their backyard, I would have a hard time understanding. We always, as a company, Verizon wants to make sure that everybody is happy. We do everything we can in the way of your ordinance, meeting all the requirements. We get up here and answer all the questions, provide alternatives if we can. We would like to build that tower out there out of need. I believe, and this is what is called it's not a coverage site, it's a coverage map, but it's not a capacity map. You can't show capacity.
I've never heard the capacity tower.
It's
Why can't you a capacity, because you don't have room on the other towers?
That's exactly right.
Is that just for your cabinets and stuff like that?
No,
or?
it's actually antennas. What has happened in the business, and this has only happened in about the past year or two, all of the towers that are out there now are full of the data and information, but they're also full of the equipment. And because of that, they are stressed beyond capacity. They can't hold any more physical equipment. They can't be beefed up in order to hold anything. The foundations cannot be beefed up. So there comes a point where we have to find another place to build a tower.
So will this tower start pulling information from a number of other towers?
At
in the
least
area?
3 other towers, yes, sir. It will offload and make the coverage better. It will make it easier to get the data on your phone. And you've got it's Interstate 140 that comes close to there. That is a very, very busy road.
So-
Alcoa Road is busy. We're trying to get better coverage in-home as well as in cars. That's a major portion of the Verizon a standard is to get coverage for the phones in people's cars.
Well,
They-
does that a capacity tower act as a standalone tower in addition to absorbing stuff from other
Yes, sir.
towers?
It has to, because it has to hold the antennas that are going to be offloading in the sectors that they're pointed to.
So if you build a capacity tower, are you building it the same way as you'd build any other tower?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you go.
It would be the same wind stress that
Well,
is required.
If you know all this is coming about, why would you put another tower up stressed the same as an old tower? If you put a tower up with why wouldn't you put a really strong tower up to hold all that extra stuff?
Well, and a lot of
looks like you just. I understand what you're saying, but it looks like down the road with this coming on, you'd start building stronger towers instead of just minimum.
Well, the problem also is there is a certain limit and beefiness on towers that you can build.
You can't. It's
Because
got a
of the
minimum
height,
and a max.
because of the height of the tower.
Well, I understand the height, but on a 70-foot tower, you can't build them no stronger.
You know, I majored in English, and that is a question that I simply don't know. And I'm not going to, I'm
Well,
not
it's
even.
just
Gonna,
interesting. I understand, but since
Well,
since
it is-
capacity towers is this is the first time I've heard of capacity tower. And capacity tower, because those aren't strong enough to hold up stuff, looks to me like if you're going to build a capacity tower, knowing that's a situation, you'd build a stronger tower. to hold
Well,
up more
right now, that tower will accommodate 4 other carriers, so it is built to accommodate 4 other carriers. But in the future, we don't know what the other carriers are going to have in the way of equipment if they come to co-locate on it. We simply don't know. That's a
That's why you
question.
build them stronger.
Well,
How many carriers are on an existing antenna?
just one. Verizon has their array of antennas, and it's normally between 9 and
So-
12.
So this one's supposed to have 4 carriers.
4 carriers, correct. And then the ground space for the radio equipment.
Any other questions for this lady from the board?
Yeah.
You're not Mr. Lewis, are you?
No.
Mr. Lewis, he still got his sign up.
Yeah. You have any problem with camouflaging it?
If we camouflaged it, what do you mean by camouflage? What crosses your mind when you say camouflage?
Make it look like a tree?
We could do that.
Would that, if this was approved, would that help the situation any? Yeah. This is sort of out, so there's not a whole lot of houses can see it, are they?
No, sir.
Yes. Yes, you may approach.
I've known Larry all my life. We grew up together, and I didn't see you sitting there. I didn't recognize you. But come in, I spoke to. But anyway, my house is, I don't know, probably further near the park down there from the tower, and I'm not going to be able to see it. I mean, there's that many trees. And Larry's house is, I don't know, I'd say from here probably further than that church over there. I'm sorry you don't want the tower, but I can't see where you can see it, Larry.
It's got red lights on it.
It's not going to have
It's
any
not
red
going to be lighted. It's not required to be lighted. Anything 200 feet and above is required to be lighted by the FFA. No, none. No light whatsoever. None.
Ain't no way you can see it. I'm sorry you don't like it. I mean, it'd be hard for me to see it, and I'm going to be really close to it. And if it was harmful, that was the first question I asked you when you approached me, wasn't it?
That was it.
Was there any harm, radioactive or And she explained that they wasn't, so.
My answer to him was that you would have to climb up the tower and sit on the outside facing the antenna for about 2 or 3 days for it to affect you in any way. And if you wanted to do that, then more power to you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else in opposition that would like to speak?
I'm not in opposition, but I was just wondering why we got a letter about it, because I don't see how it is concerning us.
That's just part of our zoning regulation requirements that letters be sent out to people within a certain amount of radius for this request.
So, ma'am, you don't live on Blair Road?
We live on Russell Road.
Yeah, okay.
Well, am I right? If this meets all the setback requirements and everything, there's really not a lot we can do unless there's some big problem, is there, to decline it?
My only concern is we don't run into the same thing we ran into Townsend, and somebody coming back and say, we need done that to go fix the road. That's my concern.
I think that's a little different road situation.
Well, I see Larry I sympathize with his concern, and I would be more, it's the road, you know where the Pope's greenhouses are? I assume that's the road that they're gonna take to do the construction of this tower. And that's also Clayton's backdoor entrance to their facility.
That's correct.
That's a very, it's a very
But-
heavily traveled road.
But the equipment that's actually going to be used to do this is merely a crane.
So there's
and-
no bulldozers, no dump trucks?
There might be a bulldozer, but it'll be brought in on a trailer. As far as I know, in all the years I've been doing this, I've never seen a major road be damaged by anything like that. I mean, that's normal traffic on regular roads.
Are you saying that construction is not going to go up Blair Road?
Yes, it is going to go up Blair Road.
I thought you said it was going someplace else.
No, I said the road that I would have concerns with is the road that enters Clayton.
And
Blair Road turns off of that road.
And I also approached Clayton about the possibility of building a tower on their property, and they weren't interested. I didn't offer enough money.
Of course, this is just a 70-foot tower, right?
Yes, sir.
That's about from here to back there.
Mm-hmm.
I could put that up with a tractor.
Is there any other questions? If not, we'll hear a motion.
Because of the elevation of the land, the radio frequency department takes the lats and longs at the base of the tower and builds in the fact of where the lats and longs are, the elevation at the base of the tower, and the height of the tower. Then they plug it into their computer system that has every tower within the area there. And then they measure how it connects, if it works, if you get in-house coverage, if you get car coverage, and they decide that this is the place that does the best for Verizon and for the customers. And that's how it's determined. Absolutely nothing. Honest to goodness, I'm not up here telling a story. We've never had anyone complain about their DirecTV, their dish, their cable, their regular antenna coverage, nothing. It's radio waves. It's like the radio you have in your car. That's what it operates off of.
I make a motion we approve the special exemption.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Who's second? Okay, Andy Allen,
Yes.
Larry Chesney,
Yes.
Bruce Amaro,
Yes?
Stan Hedrick.
Yes.
Motion was approved.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. May I say one thing?
Sure.
I'm on the P&Z board in a little small town called Gaffney, South Carolina, and I'd like to thank y'all for being so accommodating and so nice. Appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. If that's all, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Ayes have it.
Aye.